I am a millennial, but I work with people of Gen Z. Therefore, I know this generation a little bit. When I talk to them, I reflect how I thought when I was in my teens and 20s, and I compare Gen Z to my generation. Many of Gen Z are ambitious and polite people, but obviously some of them have a few issues or problems with themselves and the world around them. Issues when you are young are nothing new. It was the same with my generation. Everyone had his or her problem. But since Gen Z has more options and tools and networks than any generation before them had, one would assume that they have it easy in life because they can use all that technology that wasn't available to us, at least not in the form it's available now. But apparently all these networks and tools, they don't make their lives easier in any sense, not even ChatGPT. So I made my research on the physical, but first and foremost, the mental health issues of Gen Z. So if you're interested in this, keep on listening and also subscribe to my channel because there is more to come. Gen Z consumes a lot. And by consuming, I don't mean only food or health or beauty products. By consuming, I mean information. No generation before them did ever spend so much time on their phone and was so overwhelmed with information. Gen Z consumes hours of social media every day. This is why they know so much about the world. At least this is what they think, because the information they receive is filtered. Filtered by actually themselves, as the algorithm pushes only out the videos the audience wants to see. This way, Gen Z creates their own virtual reality. They select themselves by choosing what to watch and what to watch not. Easy content is easy to consume, isn't it? And because they consume so much, they experience the world, or at least the virtual image of the world they constantly consume, as highly complex, precarious and ambitious. That creates uncertainty, which scares them. It is hard to distinguish what is real and what is simulated. It is hard to distinguish the fake news from the real ones, and it is hard to separate real life from the virtual one on social media. And all that is pretty bad for the mental well-being. The most common psychiatric disorders found among Gen Z are ADHD, anxiety disorders, behavioral disorders and depression, and the percentage of adolescents who suffer grows. Any gender issues are not to be called problems nowadays, but they are. It is actually not a form of freedom to choose one's gender. It's a burden to do so, especially when you are not sure about it. Suicide rates among teenagers have never been so high in history. By the way, the suicide rates of young men are much higher than the ones of young women. In the year 2021, the UNICEF reported that 13% of teenagers are being diagnosed with a mental health disorder. And this number only counts the ones who are diagnosed. So how many teenagers do really visit a psychiatrist when they don't feel well? How many are too scared to address their problems, to talk to the parents about them? And how many parents do take these issues seriously enough to actually go with them to a psychiatrist, instead of telling them that they are just lazy and too negative about the world? I have been told that when I was a teenager. You're too negative, you're too lazy, you're too whatever. No one would take me to therapy, although it probably would have been very helpful in this stage of my life. I was suffering from depression as a teenager, and I never got fully rid of it until now. So I believe there is actually many more people suffering from mental health disorders than the numbers say. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, with all its lockdowns, left a violent imprint on people's minds, especially on this generation who were in the most precious phase of their development when the pandemic hit. And all the lockdowns tore them out of their lives. During the lockdowns, parents were more responsible for educating children, more than usual. This led to a phenomenon which is known as overparenting. And one of the results of overparenting is this: their claim of perfectionism towards the children, especially regarding school, because that's practically all they did with their children all day. Parents who failed to teach their children blamed their children when they got bad marks in school. This led to even more anxiety and even more depression and low self-esteem, and to an increase of suicide rate among teenagers. The pandemic, with all its consequences, left many children and young people afraid, angry, and concerned about the future. If this happened once, it could happen again, anytime, with even worse consequences. Another problem of Gen Z is sleeping deprivation. There's just too much noise and too many electronic devices around them, and too much smartphone time. You cannot sleep when you have just been staring at the screen for hours. You cannot just switch your brain off and say good night. The blue light of the screen prevents your body from releasing the hormones necessary to put your system into the sleep mode. Caffeine doesn't help either. Be honest. How many espressos did you have today? If it was more than 3, it were too many. 10? No. No wonder you can't sleep. Also, no wonder you need to go to the toilet all the time. Also, your sleeping rooms may be too warm. The optimal sleeping temperature is 18 degrees Celsius, and you need fresh air. So instead of heating up your room, get warmer blankets. Sleeping is most refreshing when the window is open, so you get fresh air all night long. If you feel cold on your head, you can put a hood on. It feels warm and cozy, and your head feels protected. Very nice feeling. When it comes to sleeping times, the bad news is the rhythm that society has created when it comes to when to be at school or at work do not match with your biological rhythm. But that is a problem one cannot change. The only advice here is, when you are feeling tired and you have the opportunity to do so, sleep. Sleep when your body tells you, even if you might be missing something. Nothing is important as sleep. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I have a dog. If you don't sleep enough, here are the possible consequences. Number 1, you're tired. That's nothing new. Number 2, you're also in a low mood. You could feel depressed, you lack of energy and motivation. It's harder to handle emotions. You might feel anxiety or just be grumpy all day, and then no one will like you. Number 3, not enough sleep can even lead to low self-esteem and suicide ideation. If you are suffering all the time because you're tired, it's no wonder that you cannot enjoy your life. Also, when you stay up late and hang out with people who stay out late, the risk of having bad ideas increases. Did you ever do something after midnight that would serve your future or would help to make the world a better place? I bet not. Most teenagers sleep around 7 hours a night. Do you know what sleep length health specialists suggest? 10 hours. That means you're missing 21 hours of sleep every week. That's almost a whole day. Or over 1,000 sleep hours per year. Over 1,000 hours that your body needed to develop and grow. That your brain needed to process all the information and to recreate. I'm not saying all health issues can be solved by sleeping more, but many can. That's it for today. If you found this depressing, please subscribe to the channel to see me again. Here are some other videos that you could watch. And if you want to tell me something or comment this episode, just write me a few lines down in the comment section. And as always, thank you for listening and have a nice day.